Hello, everyone. If you have landed here, you've landed on Let's Talk News, and I am Letitia Romero, your most annoyed host for this evening. I hope your weekend is going well. Mine is beautiful, but I'm annoyed because of the topic that we're going to speak about today. I'm annoyed at this organized, orchestrated play against Donald Trump once again by not only the Democrats, but also the news media that is literally throwing us into chaos. But besides being annoyed, I am also heartbroken. Um, 15 lives lost in Bondi Beach, shooting in Brown. I believe that the shootings and the get Trump situation are all hand in hand because the media and the Democrat National Committee um, and also the Trump haters, plenty of Republicans amongst that, plenty of Republicans in DC who hate Trump and want to see him gone are involved in all of this, and it is creating a situation where people feel that they can act because there's chaos. They're creating the chaos, and then they're blaming the chaos on Trump, and then in the chaos all this horror is happening. So I just want to take a moment to recognize everybody over this weekend whose life was lost. And of course, it's only the terrorist attacks that we think about, but there have been many other lives lost this weekend to violence, gun violence, in large cities. So we should just take a moment and pray to God that this insanity stops. Um, so let's do that. Okay. We're joined by a few people. Hi, Kevin. How are you? Trump has proven to me he is as straight and as normal as they come. He is just not politically correct. That is running the world. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The thing about Trump and these made up stories is that Trump had a whole life before he became president, and he had a whole life as to some extent he was a rich single, bachelor twice, who owned the Miss Universe, I think it was, pageant, because he saved it because it was going under. So you're always going to see him, with pictures of him and beautiful women in big, and you'll also see him with pictures of prize fighters and artists and movie stars. Everybody wanted to be photographed with Trump. Hello, Francine. Good to have you. Hello, Professor. Good to have you. So, these claims that these Epstein photos are, first of all, the claims that they're real, and that I'll just show you because it's the only way to do it. I hate to even give it life and light, but I'll show you this one. This is crazy. This has been shown to be a fake. More on X. What if everyone posted this pic? Well, if everybody posted that pic, you would have a problem because it's photoshopped. You can take a really close look. People have no fingers. There's too many hands, too many arms. This is not a real photo, and uh, um, it has been proven that it has been debunked when it came out in 2016. Um, and there's plenty of real photos of Trump with Epstein and we know about them. So why they're creating these photos is because the photos of Trump and Epstein are benign. They're absolutely benign. But what they are doing is they are putting this crap out on social media and they're flooding the airways with it. And the worst part, and I'm sorry, I didn't get the one from I think it was Senator Padilla, maybe was the one who posted it, is this one. Let's see if I get this correct. Hold on a second. Yeah, this one. Okay, so they posted. Wait, they didn't. Not that one. This one. You see this one? They posted this, and this came from the Epstein Files. Okay, this photo with everybody's face blanked out came from the Epstein file, and a senator posted it with saying that no wonder Trump was stealing oil from tankers and creating a war in Venezuela because he didn't want to talk about these, what she said was teenagers in the photo. And then here you go. If you look at the bottom, these are not teenagers. These are models. These are mature women who are in this photo. And indeed, that these women this was taken at Mar-a-Lago. Not why it was in the Epstein files is beyond me. I'm not quite sure about that whole thing. But oh, hold on a second. Sorry, I'm having behind the scenes problems here. But it was a Hawaiian Tropic party, and these were models for Hawaiian Tropic. And according to, I think his name was Rice, who was the owner of Hawaiian Tropic, and you might remember that was the suntan oil. These models they were always using Mar-a-Lago for this or that. There were always promotional things happening over at Mar-a-Lago, and Donald Trump was part of it. So to pretend to pearl clutch, because here this at the time single man was had his arms around a bunch of models. The man who was the Miss Universe pageant had his picture taken with a bunch of models. Is insanity. It's absolute insanity. Hello, Andrew Dorman. But what they do, and let me explain what they do, they post those pictures, right? And they say it was from the Epstein files. I'm not going to doubt that some reason they were contained in the Epstein file. My concern is, I'll use the word concern. My concern is how come they're picking and choosing these photographs only of Trump? And also, how come they're blacking out their faces and calling them teenagers when they're not? Because that gets news stories out there. And the more news stories there are, and especially when it's coming from credible sources like senators or members of Congress, right? And now we have it in CNN, and now we have it on ABC and CBS. And next thing you know, Google, when you're doing the Grok search or the Google search or the AI search, the internet is so flooded with these photographs that's the first thing that comes up, is that it came from the Epstein files. And then it becomes a big loop, a circle, where the members of Congress who have access to this information cherry pick and only pick photos with Trump, and then they lie and say young women or teen. In this case, she lied. She said teenagers from the Epstein files, and then it gets shared and it gets shared and it gets shared, and even when it's debunked, it's not good enough, because now the algorithm is there, and that's when you have a situation where you have the president. They're labeling him a pedophile, which is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we had somebody who liked to sniff a little girl's hair in the White House already, and it wasn't Donald Trump. It was Joe Biden. But nobody else, no other photos are coming out. So you would think that the only one in the Epstein files is Trump. And Trump has already explained his relationship with Epstein many times. Did I say hello to Kevin Young? Hello, Kevin. Hello, Colleen Mahoney. So there is another one. Hold on a second. Where's the other one here? Here's another fake. I can't. Okay. So here, Donald Trump Jr. says Democrats release photos of adults models who said that Trump acted gentlemanly, but blocked out their faces to make it seem like my father was hanging out with minors. 95,000 images dropped, and he's in 4 of them. Their whole clown show is falling apart as always. How many Dems in there? So the thing is that I don't know why the Republicans are cherry picking and fighting fire with fire. And this is where I get frustrated, right? And you know this if you watch the show regularly, you know that I've had it up to here with the freaking Republicans who don't do shit except for, whatever. I mean, dump that shit and you be ready. You be ready with what's going on because this is crazy stuff, absolute crazy stuff. Did I? Yeah, I showed you all of them. I think. Yeah, it's all crazy, and it's stuff like that that goes out in sound bites to young people that creates the chaos, and then the chaos covers up for the terrorism that flows in. We got to stop this. We just got to stop this. We all know Democrats are all liars. Well, most in Congress, but so are the Republicans because they're not doing anything to protect them or to stop it. I mean, and look at what we had, like we talked about it last week, Indiana, right? They had their opportunity to redraw the lines because you know damn well if the Democrats had the opportunity and were able to do it, they would have redrawn the lines because look what happened in California. That's exactly what Gavin Newsom did. He decided, oh, okay, well, Texas is redrawing lines. I'm going to redraw them too. And that's a real problem. And that's not what Republicans do because we're always so goody two shoes that we get trampled over and it costs our nation. It costs our nation. And that drives me insane. Hello, Susan Durema. Good to have you. Trump ran beauty contests. I would expect pictures with beautiful young women. Tons of them. Tons of pictures with beautiful young women. And then there are stories out there where, oh, Trump was inappropriate and I didn't like the way Trump spoke to me and lawsuits and everything else. Well, I'm sorry. If you're in a limo with a single man who's got a lot of money and you were a swimsuit model, don't tell me that you become offended if somebody comments on how beautiful you are or anything like that. And there's 1,000 stories that all came out from 2016 about this stuff. Never forget the press is the enemy. The establishment is the enemy. The professors are the enemy. Professors are the enemy. Write that on a blackboard 100 times and never forget it. What did Richard Nixon mean by this quote? Obviously, we're teaching our children propaganda. I mean, that's what I think. We know that they're lying. They know that they're lying. They even know that we know that they're lying. We also know that they know we know they're lying too. They, of course, know that we certainly know they know we know they are lying too as well. But they are still lying. In our country, the lie has become not just moral category, but the pillar industry of the country. So well said, Professor. So well said. We do know that they're lying. The problem is not everybody knows that they're lying. And when it gets regurgitated over and over again in a concerted effort, the lie becomes the truth. And what did they say? That history is written by the winners. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically right. I mean, whatever history we have was written by the conquerors, not the conquered, right? It's just the way it is. Biggest issue is the media and their blatant bias and censorship. And as much as we know that it's happening, it still does not. And Colleen, you're spot on with that because we know that it's happening, but we can't stop it. And if we can't stop it, it becomes part of the algorithm. And that is, at the end of the day, the problem with AI. It's the problem with Google. It's the problem with Alexa. It's the problem with all of this. They consider CBS, NBC, CNN, they consider them reliable sources. There's only Fox News and Newsmax on the conservative side that reports conservative stuff, and sometimes even for me, way too conservative. But there's 2 against 12. So what is the algorithm going to pick up? It's going to pick up the stuff that's posted the most. And because these Democrat senators and Congress members have an organized campaign on social media and in the news about this stuff, they get their talking points in the morning and they all just spit it out like robots. And we all laugh saying, oh, look at them. We know, look at them. They all say the same thing. There's a reason for it. It changes the algorithm, and that's the problem. Regardless if Trump and Melania were in pictures with or without Epstein, there are people just obsessed with being a problem for president, his family, and friends. You're absolutely right about that. That's why they have chosen the schools. Absolutely. Oh, you're speaking to the Richard Nixon commentary. Absolutely. They have gotten into our schools, and they are just pummeling our kids with so many things. I mean, I'm sure if you've watched the news, and I didn't clip it up, but how many people have seen all these kids killing themselves with AI helping them to kill themselves, telling them how to kill themselves, telling them to kill themselves? I've seen several, and I've seen mothers talking about groups, support groups for those who have lost their children to AI, when AI helped them to commit suicide. I'll answer this question in a minute. But that could never happen if we were in a society of depressed people, right? Our kids now are on all kinds of medication from 2 and 3 and 4 years old. Everybody has a therapist or a shrink. You see that pounded into your head. Go, seek mental help. Don't be afraid to have mental help. Things like that. Depression. We see that on television constantly. Drugs being pushed for depression. Well, so we're such a sad society that we're losing our children. We are killing our children by playing into this depression nonsense. And again, more chaos, right? More chaos. News media's corrupt bullshit, spewing out over and over again disinformation and focusing on depression is creating. The narrative is creating the fact, not the other way around. That's super, super, super scary to me, because they're out to get us one way or another, right? It's either, they hate the pesky Americans and their human rights, and so they're fighting on all levels. Our children in schools, our children on the internet. It's not happening anywhere else. Other than European, the Western civilization, you don't hear kids committing suicide because AI told them to. You don't hear it from China. Maybe it is happening, and the Iron Curtain coming down is not reporting it, but somehow I doubt it. What did the other side do? The other side, meaning Republicans. The Republicans don't do anything. We can't coordinate. We don't know how. And I used to be proud of that fact. I used to be proud to be a Republican because we were independent thinkers and we don't walk in lockstep. But to not do that when the Democrats are doing it is going to be dangerous. And it's not just for the midterm elections. It's dangerous for this country because it's dangerous for the economy. It's dangerous for our youth. It's dangerous on every level. Opening up the borders. It's dangerous. So they're fighting us on every front, on the border issue, on the immigration issue. Then you have the Epstein file issue. They have a chart of what shall we put out today, and the news media follows along. And we know it's so because they protected Joe Biden, and now they're trying to call into question Trump's clarity and soundness of mind. The media is part of it. The organization is there. How now do you beat it becomes the question. And how you beat it is sharing. I mean, this little show, may only reach a couple of thousand people, but let's share it. Let's share every time you hear a truth. Let's share it. Let's open people's eyes. Let's make sure that the information they get is not in the 10-second soundbite in TikTok or Instagram that shows Trump hanging around with young women. Cable news is different and more expectation. If opinion, but mainstream network news is expected to report facts. And this is where Americans who do not have cable TV still get their news. They're expected to report facts, absolutely, and they don't. And they don't. They stop. When it comes to Donald Trump, they feel that they have a pass because they feel they're saving democracy or whatever. I mean, I don't know what they feel. I do know that a lot of these news stations are owned by Chinese and Muslim organizations. So, the people, the globalists who want America destroyed own a lot of our news companies. Americans need to realize if they listen to these lies, it will help Democrats destroy America again. And Kevin, I'm with you. How do we do it? How do we do it? The only way to do it is to call everybody out. I'm not saying stay on social media day and night. By all means, we all need to have a life. But I'm saying we need to get ourselves organized. And if the RNC and if Johnson and Thune are not going to do it, we need to do it. We need to do it. We need to follow Trump on truth, and we need to just pump out everything he's saying and in our own voices. We just need to do it. It's disgusting how over-medicated our society has become. And it's for a reason, but we know that, Kyle, right? We know that they're doing it intentionally because it's easier to tell a zombie to repeat something or what they did or what they feel than it is for somebody who has clarity of mind, right? If you are in possession of your faculties and I come up to you and I say, the sky is black, you're going to go, get the hell out of here. The sky is black. But if you're tripping out on medication of, what do they call these? Psychotropic medications, right? The ADHD medicine and the ADD and all the acronyms, the medications, Cymbalta and this thing and that thing. And I come up and I say to you, the sky is black. And then somebody else says the sky is black. And somebody else says the sky is black. You go, maybe it is. And maybe I just, because I am no good and I'm depressed and whatever, I don't see it. So before you know it, everybody's saying the sky is black. And that becomes a reality because everybody says it. That's how things have worked throughout history we're tribal humans. We're tribal. And we can be talked into anything. We can be talked into anything. Add some drugs in there and we really have a problem. And that's exactly what's happening, right? I mean, they're going nuts because Trump is stopping the drugs from coming into the country. Well, that's not what they want. That's not what the global elitists want. We need to have Americans out of their minds stoned on drugs because if they're not, then they'll be productive. We can't have them productive because if they're productive, then they'll set the wage for everybody else. We need them to be depressed and sad and unhappy with their country, unhappy with themselves, unhappy with their government. We need them to, be open to suggestion and to basically hypnosis. That's what this all is. Repeat it here, repeat it there, repeat it everywhere. And next thing you know, you're like, it must be true. It must be true. And that's a problem. Trump has more mental and physical stamina than most people in any age group. I agree with that because I try and keep up with him and I have a hard time. I have to have 6 hours of sleep and I have to have some downtime during the day. Those who one person should always remember that blame can be put on them too. Andrew, help me out. I'm not sure exactly which person you're talking about. So what I guess at the point of this whole show tonight is to discuss the fact that when you see, you should not be just looking for pages that you like. You need to be looking at pages that you don't like, and you need to be seeing what they're saying. And I wouldn't comment on those pages, because when you comment, then more people see it. I would instead take a screenshot of it and then repost it and post it to the people that you speak to, and just call it what it is, a lie. When it's a lie, call it what it is, a lie. But don't retweet it or repost it or share it if you're on Facebook. No, take a shot of it, a screenshot of it, and then post that, because we have to kill that algorithm, and it's going to take a lot of coordinated effort on our part to kill that algorithm, but we have to try. Best thing is for Trump to get FCC to do a blackout on radical news agencies. They are deemed to be radical and anti-Trump and anti-American. Yeah, but Kevin, they did that to us. Remember, there's always a chance that the Democrats are going to come back into control and power. And you've got to be careful of doing things like that. And frankly, I mean, that's against the First Amendment. Free speech is free speech. And if you start bending it for any reason, then you lose your right to speak too. I understand what you're saying, and I'm as frustrated as you, but I don't know that I can agree with that. I can agree that so long as we have the power of free speech, we need to use it. And we need to expose people to, the fact that the news media is lying to them. And the best way to do it is with the facts. And how do you get the facts, right? Especially if the algorithm starts going against it, like Grok and Google and all that, they start coming back with feedback that is other than what you know. You have to keep on diving deep and deep and deep, and look in other newspapers and look all around. But look at Truth Social. You'll get a lot of information directly, and look at the White House's page. That's how you combat it. But don't be fighting with people who post crap and lies, because if you fight with them on their thread, you boost that algorithm and it goes out to more people. One who blames others can receive blame also. Retaliation bounce back. Oh, that's like when you point the finger of blame at me, one finger's pointed and four are point back to you. Good point, Andrew. Good point. So lessons for tonight's show. Number one, don't just look at pages that you follow. Because that will be problematic. You're only going to see what you want to see, right? So don't do that. Look at the pages that people you don't care for. Do not repost their stuff. Don't fight with them on their threads. Take a screenshot, repost it on your thread to your followers with the word lies and with a description, and say these are lies that we're being told. Don't give them access. Because the more you speak to them on their social media platforms, the more it's going to be shown to the world. We need to beat them at their own game. And Thune and Johnson, if you're listening, get your act together and start getting on these social media platforms. Every single member of Congress, Republican member of Congress and Senate, needs to be thwarting these bullshit lies. This is a real campaign, and it's not just for 2026. It's for our future, because we're never going to have another Donald Trump. We're never going to have another opportunity to take back our government. And if we blow it because we're resting on our fat asses, not only will we regret it, but our children and grandchildren and our future will regret it too. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm sorry I'm cranky, but I've been cranky a lot lately because I just can't abide this stupidity that's going on in the world these days. But together, maybe we can change it. Okay, I will see you tomorrow.